It's one of the most universal things we do. A little giggle, a chuckle, a full-on belly laugh. We all do it. But have you ever really stopped to think about it? Like, why? What's actually happening inside our bodies and brains when we laugh? Well, let's break it down. So we're going to tackle that exact question, and we're going to look at it from three really different angles. First, we'll start with the biology, what a laugh even is. Then we'll dive into the psychology of what makes us laugh. And finally, we'll get into its deeper philosophical meaning.
Okay, so before we get into the why, let's just be clear on the what. If you look it up, the scientific definition is this big mouthful, a psychophysiological response. But all that really means is that it's this incredibly complex thing. It's not just a sound. Nope. It's a full-body event that involves your breathing, your voice, your emotions, and even the social signals you're sending out.
To really get it, we have to start with the pure mechanics. What is physically going on in your body when a laugh just erupts out of you?
It's this amazing chain reaction, really. First, your diaphragm starts to spasm, kind of pushing air out of your lungs. Then your larynx, that's your voice box, it tightens up and chops that air into the classic ha-ha-ha sound. And at the exact same time, your brain floods with endorphins, those natural feel-good chemicals. That's why, sometimes you literally feel weak with laughter. It's a workout.
So, we know what a laugh is physically, but that just makes you wonder, where did this bizarre reflex even come from? Well, to find that answer, we've got to go way, way back in our evolutionary history.
And here's the thing that's crucial to understand. Laughing isn't really a choice. It's an involuntary reflex. It's generated way down in the brainstem, the most ancient, primitive part of our brain. This thing is hardwired into us. It's been around for a very, very long time.
This brings us to our primate cousins. Yeah, the leading theory is that our laughter actually evolved from the panting sound that chimps and other apes make when they're play fighting or tickling each other. It's basically a primal signal that says, hey, this is just for fun. We're good. I'm not actually trying to hurt you. It's a super important way to build bonds and make sure things don't get out of hand.
Okay, so it's an ancient primate play signal, got it. But that doesn't really explain why we laugh at a really clever punchline, right? To get that, we have to switch gears from biology to the psychology of what our minds actually find funny.
And the first thing you need to know about the psychology of laughter is that it is deeply, deeply social. This statistic is just staggering. You are 30 times, 30, more likely to laugh when you're with other people than when you're all alone. It's a social glue.
So what's the number one trigger? Well, most psychologists agree it's this idea called incongruity. See, our brains are basically prediction machines. They're constantly building little models and patterns of how the world is supposed to work. We laugh when something comes along and breaks that pattern in a surprising but, and this is key, a harmless way.
Here, take this classic dad joke. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. See, your brain is expecting some serious scientific reason, but the punchline plays on the double meaning of make up, and it just shatters that expectation in a clever, non-threatening way. That little mental stumble is incongruity. That's what makes you chuckle.
Now, of course, incongruity isn't the whole story. There are other theories, too. There's relief theory, which says we laugh to let go of nervous energy. You know that shaky laugh you do after a car almost hits you? That's relief theory. And then there's the much older superiority theory. This one argues that we laugh at other people's mistakes, like in slapstick comedy, because it gives us a quick flash of feeling superior, a little moment of, phew, glad that wasn't me.
All right, we've talked about the body, we've talked about the mind. For our last layer, let's zoom out even further. Let's ask what philosophers think laughter says about being human itself.
The philosopher Henri Bergson had this really fascinating idea. He thought laughter was society's tool to keep us from becoming robots. We laugh at people who are acting overly rigid or automated because it's a social signal. It's a little poke that says, hey, loosen up, be adaptable, be more human.
The existentialists, guys like Albert Camus, they saw it in a totally different way. For them, the universe is basically absurd, right? It has no inherent meaning. So in the face of all that chaos, laughing isn't just for fun. It's an act of rebellion. It's a way of looking at the void and refusing to let it crush you. It's an assertion of your own freedom. And then you've got Mikhail Bakhtin, who saw laughter as this powerful, even revolutionary force. He looked at old medieval carnivals, where for one day, peasants could make fun of the king and no one would get in trouble. From this point of view, laughter can flip the whole social order upside down, even if just for a moment. It becomes a tool for liberation.
So where does that leave us? What does it all mean when we put it together? Well, the main takeaway is that laughter isn't just one simple thing. It's this incredibly complex, layered part of who we are. Let's try to pull these threads together.
So you can look at it biologically and see it's that primal hardwired play signal, or you can look at it psychologically and see it's a social tool that helps us bond and cope, usually triggered by surprise. And then you can look at it philosophically and see it as this profound response to life itself, a way we correct each other, defy the universe, and even find freedom.
When you think about it, laughter is really the thread that connects everything. It connects the most ancient animal part of our brain to our most sophisticated, modern thoughts about the universe. It's where our bodies, our hearts, and our minds all come together.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel a laugh bubbling up, just for a second, ask yourself, what is this laugh actually doing? Am I bonding with someone? Am I just coping and releasing some tension? Or am I, in my own little way, staging a tiny rebellion against it all? It's something to think about.